And I'll record this so we have it for posterity in case anyone needs to see the training.
Sounds good.
Okay, let me do this as a slideshow. Okay. I'll keep it brief. Okay, so the first few slides are for you as the test administrator. And this is what you can tell students, that the test of adult basic education, or TABE, assesses students in both reading and math. We don't use the language test though. We use the 9-10D level test. You don't really need to tell students that, but Matt, that's really important. If you're testing in person and there's a bunch of test booklets there at the site, make sure that it's both the 9-10 and the D, because there's also an 11-12. And I shared this link with you, so you have it. And there's also MDA levels. So you want to make sure you have the right form and the right level. So 9-10 is the form, D is the level. Okay.
And then Tom, also Matt, like one thing with a TABE is no one likes to take it. It's, you know, it's not fun. So just when you're explaining, just say the reason why we're giving this is because the materials and the training are at a certain level. We want to make sure that the people that are coming to training, that you're set up to, that you're going to be in a position where you can finish the training. And if not, then you can be part of our bridge program where we can kind of raise those levels, because people have been out of school for a while. It's completely understandable, but let them know to really try during the test, because it makes a difference. Their scores, a lot of times people who don't want to do it, they'll just go through it really quickly and you won't get an accurate reading. So let them know, like, guys, I know this sucks, it's not fun, but your scores will really help us get an understanding of where you're at and what kind of trainings you can do. And if your scores are below where they need to be, we can put you in a bridge program to raise those scores. So please give it your all.
You're good. And I can add that this first slide, I just realized, Matt, this is just for you. This is for the test administrator. Okay. All questions are multiple choice. There's one reading test with 25 questions and the students get 25 minutes. And there's 2 math tests, math computation, 25 questions, but 15 minutes, no calculator. And applied math, those are the word problems, 25 questions, 25 minutes, calculators are allowed. So starting with the second slide is what you can tell students. I tell them it's a diagnostic assessment to determine what skills they're strong in and which skills that we'll focus on more during the 5 weeks of instruction. But what Kavi just said, we can add that to the slide, that it also will determine the best course for them to matriculate into, that we have a variety of courses. If they ask, let them know that we're looking for students to reach a 10th grade level to matriculate into the course following that. I only say that though if they really push me and ask me. I don't want them to stress at this point about what score they have to get. But that is something I talk with them right away up front when we start class, so they know that when we begin class. You can tell them all questions are multiple choice, and tell them which 3 tests they'll be taking. I also tell them if you come to a hard question, skip it. Answer the ones you're confident in, then if time permits, and go back and answer the ones you skip. Because we often get students who get hung up on a hard question and then don't answer the second half of the test. And that doesn't give us an accurate picture of what they really know. Any additions, Kavi?
No, sounds great.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
So then so I have 2 slides here for how to administer the test. The first slide is if you're giving it in person, give them the test booklet open to the reading test, you give them a bubble sheet and a pencil, have them fill in their information, then set the timer for 25 minutes. I usually give them a warning halfway through, 5 minutes left, 1 minute left. Make sure they don't write in the test booklets. That's important, just the bubble sheet. Same thing with math, and just make sure they're not using a calculator for math computation. That's the short one. So I always let them know this is short. It's 15 minutes. It's 25 questions. So you're going to pick up your pace with this one. And then applied math, they can use a calculator. And again, same thing. I usually give them a warning halfway through and then towards the end. When you're done, collect the bubble sheets. And then if you can, enter their last name, first name, and the answers with the Socrative link, which I'll show you in a subsequent slide. That way I get to see student by student which answers they've answered correctly, which answers they've missed answered, and then I can share that with you. If it's your students, I have it if it's my students. Okay. Any questions on this slide? Yeah, Matthew, you're muted.
Sorry about that. When exactly is the test?
So this is something that we're gonna be scheduling on an as needed basis, on a rolling basis.
Gotcha.
So I do
Gotcha.
test on Monday and Tuesdays when I'm not teaching. But other than that,
Okay.
Santosh has been doing a lot of it, but we're gonna get to the point where it's gonna be all hands on deck. So basically, when do you start teaching?
Think that Kaveh said in May.
Yeah,
May.
the
Okay.
course was
Okay.
May 17th.
Okay,
And-
so Tanisha may call on you for the second half of April to do a lot of testing. We'll see.
Yeah, and then this is a non sequitur, but Tom, starting Matt's kind of going through Matthew. I'm sorry, Matthew's going through his all the
Whatever.
No, but I mean, I've had my name butchered my whole life, so if you prefer Matthew, it's fine. So Matthew's going through the curriculum now, which is the pursuit, logic, and computer science, and then also the ABE. So let's
Okay.
start meeting next week, Monday and Tuesday. Let's put like at least an hour together and just
Okay.
go through the slides. If there's anything unclear, like, hey, I'm on slide 43, and I'm kind of having a hard time figuring out where, you know what I mean? And that way you can kind of walk it through. Because sometimes, like, when you teach it, it's easier. The dots are connected easier for you. Whereas if you're coming into it, it might be. So let's put like at least an hour every Monday and Tuesday just for that.
Do you want to
Okay.
send, Cavi, do you want to send that invite, or do you want me to?
I'll send it.
Okay.
Or if you want
The
to send
only,
it-
yeah, the only thing I have, and I guess Matthew has too, is the Monday meeting at 10 o'clock. Other than that, I don't have anything scheduled for Monday and Tuesday.
Okay, well, if you want to send it, go. I appreciate it. If you want to send it, Tom.
Okay.
You want it, as soon as
Do you want Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah, I want to do. If we don't need Tuesday, we don't have to. But I just want to make sure that, like, because Matthew's going through all the material now, and there's two pieces. The pursuit piece is a lot of kind of intro to logic and software development, and then there's the 3 days of the AP,
Right.
adult basic education. And I just want to make sure that, like, when Matthew gets into teaching, that he's confident. You know, I know that sometimes going over slides, like even when I'm going through it, like I'll make notes like slides 74 through 77. I'm not sure where I just want to like just go over minutia so we're more confident. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've
Okay.
tried to make it transparent, but
It's
sometimes
very transparent, but
sometimes
yeah.
it's in my head only, so we have to be careful about that.
And also sometimes it's so granular, which is great. You know, that I just want to make sure that we're that he's confident. You know what I mean?
Right.
That
Okay.
stuff. That's all. Yeah.
So Mondays 11 o'clock to 12, 1 hour, and then if that makes sense.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, I guess if we needed more
Yeah,
time,
that's good.
we can reconvene after lunch if we need to. I'll send out an invite. Okay. So did I finish the sheet? Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is if you're in person on site, and you'll have the actual test booklet. And again, make sure it's the 910D. They'll have bubble sheets, and Santosh can help you with all that, I guess. And then collect the bubble sheets. Then this is the directions if you're testing online. So if you're testing online, you ask students to get out a piece of lined paper and a pencil, write 1 through 25 on the page. So they're creating their own answer sheet, right? Then you give them the link to the reading test, and that's going to be on a subsequent slide. Again, give them a warning halfway through, towards the end. And then when you're done, you give them the Socrative link so they can go online and enter their answers. So there's two things they have to do. First, they're opening a PDF to see the test and writing down their answers. Then they're opening a Socrative link and entering the answers that they wrote down. That make sense? It's a two-step
Yes.
process. Okay. Same thing for math, the 2 math tests. So it's the same thing, all 3 tests. And this is always the order I give them in, but it doesn't have to be this order. It's just the order that I've always given it in. Okay. Okay, so then the rest of the slides are for the students. Is what you could click through with them if you're doing it online, or you could print them out, I guess, or just show them at site. Tell them they're going to be given, you know, these 3 tests. This is the link for the reading test. When you click on it, it opens up to the reading test. And just to go back. So again, I tell them to write down their answer on their answer sheet. They have 25 minutes, and then you close the test after that. And then this is the link for Socrative. When you click on this, it brings them to this portal that I use called Socrative, and it's going to ask them to enter their name. Try to have them do last name, first name. It's a lot easier for me not to try to, sometimes students just write one name and I have to try to figure out who they are. So last name, comma,
Okay.
first name. And then I give them a 5-minute stretch. Same thing with math, the math computation. There's the link for the math test. Let me just check it. And it says very boldly at the top, no calculator, 15 minutes. So give them that test. When they're done, again, here's the link for them to enter their answers. Let's check the link. Yes, it works. And then stretch again. And then this is the applied math where they may use a calculator. And again, there's the math test. At the top, very clearly, it says calculator 25 minutes. And then the next page is the link for them to enter their answers. Once they enter them, I'll see them. You won't, because it's my Socrative account. But if you shoot me an email and say, hey, I just tested 3 students, as soon as possible when I'm not teaching, I'll get the info. Usually we have a tracker in Teams, and I can just enter the scores in Teams. Let me show you one more thing. So for the reading test, it's easy. I just look up how many they got right, and there's the score, the grade equivalent score. And for the math, it's more complicated. It's a table with math comp on the top, applied math on the left. I have to go down and across and see where they meet, and then enter their score.
Okay.
And that's basically it.
Okay.
What kind of questions you have?
Nothing pertaining to that. Yeah, once we get into the coursework with the logic and things like that, I had a few questions, but yeah, other than that, it's pretty self-explanatory what you guys need to do.
And Matt,
Okay.
just see ahead up, the logic, those questions, I'll work with you. That's something that Tom, because Tom doesn't do that. Like that's
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm doing the cyber course instead.
yeah.
So
And-
the ABE course that you and I are teaching are nearly identical, except for the reading comprehension part, which is connected to, for me, to cyber. For you to, I guess, the logic. Kevin,
To logic. Oh, okay. Or to pursuit. Or
Pursuit.
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So because what Pursuit is, Pursuit has their own kind of coding curriculum, and they kind of took like a really basic version of that for the 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that's the portion that Tom can assist with, right? And that's the ABE.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so for the ABE, when it's not connected to the other coursework, it's math instruction. We use a lot of Mometrics videos, and after each video, I have a short quiz, which I use as formative assessment. So as the students are taking the quiz, I can actually see how they're answering. You'll be able to do that too. And then when you review it you can review it immediately afterwards and just go over the questions that were challenging for them, which is really helpful. So they get immediate feedback. So that's a lot of the math. Then there's also a number of the CUNY career kits that are woven into the course, which have to do with STEM careers and profiles of people working in STEM, things like that, which are very good.
Yeah, those are pretty.
Okay.
They're pretty self-explanatory in terms of like how to work it through. But Tom, could you just go through? Let's say you're administering the TABE right now, really quickly, just how you do it again.
Sure. So as if you're the students.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Let me actually go out of, let me go into edit mode. Okay. So, hey, we're here today to, for you to take the TABE test. It's just a diagnostic. It's for us to get a sense, for you and I to get a sense of where you are in terms of your reading comprehension. So what I've given you in the chat, if everyone could try to find the chat, which is at the bottom of their screen, you'll see a link. If you open that link, it'll take you to the reading test. And the reading test says, the first one says Harborview Community Center. That's the first passage. There's a series of passages. Each passage has a few questions. So what you're going to do is on your answer sheets, I should have said first, create an answer sheet. on your answer sheet, you're going to write your answers down for these questions, either A, B, C, D, or F, G, H, J on your answer page. Either bubble that in if you're doing it in person, or write it down if we're doing it remotely. It's 25 minutes for 25 questions, so the pace is quick. I'll give you a warning halfway through and again towards the end. If you come to a difficult question, one that's challenging or you're not clear at all, just skip it. Answer the ones that you can answer. If there's time that allows, you can go back and answer the ones you skipped. But you don't need to answer them all to get a good score. The point is, don't get hung up on one hard question when you can answer 5 easy questions, okay?
And then just Tom, we have 15
Yeah.
minutes, right?
Yeah, and then you have 25 minutes for the 25 questions. Okay, so after you're all done, I'm going to say, okay, pencils down. Now I'm giving you a second link. This is where you can enter the answers that you just wrote on your answer sheet. So open that link, enter your last name, comma, first name, and then for each answer, just click on A, B, C, or D, whichever answer choice you pick, and I'll be able to see how you answer. Okay, after we're all done, we'll take a 5-minute stretch, and then I'll give you the next test.
Got it. So, this is great. So right away when they're done, you as the teacher, you see who's finished,
Yeah.
and you can start grading right away, right?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, as soon
okay.
as they're all
Okay.
done with all 25, I can watch it populate in as they're doing it, and then I say, okay, and I say, if you're done, come back in 5 minutes. But then when everyone's done, I give them the 5-minute stretch, and then we go on to the next test. Yeah. And some take a lot longer than others just to click through. Some are fast.
Yeah.
So you just do that 3 times.
So you have them write it down first, then go through the link and just put it in quickly.
Yeah, because it'd be impossible for them to have the PDF and Socrative open at the same time unless they have they have 2 monitors. It's just too confusing. Plus, it would slow them down. We don't want to slow them down.
Okay.
Very true.
So I just have them create their own answer sheet.
Okay.
That's basically it. And then the same. Let me just show you Socrative then for a minute. So where are we? Here it is.
And you have an account that Goodwill paid for, right? You have a professional account.
I have the pro account, so I can. Socrative have rooms. Each room can house 1 separate test. So I have often a dozen different tests going at once. But the regular account, you can only have 1 open. So that's why we'd be using my account. I don't know if they'll be giving you a pro account or not for when you start teaching.
Okay, yeah, no problem.
So let me just show you for a minute. Am I still sharing my screen? Am I still sharing my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
so this is an example of the math homework that I gave my students over the weekend. And then you can see question by question, each column, who got it right, who got it wrong, and how many got it right and wrong. So for example, there aren't really any patterns here. Oh, here, question 6, 3 out of 5 got it wrong. So, I mean, I'm definitely gonna look carefully at question 6 and see. There's also question 10 and 12. For those kinds of questions, I may need to reteach because the majority of students are not getting it right. And then for someone like Paris, who got 5 in a row wrong, I want to kind of talk to him as an aside and say, were you just guessing at some point? Were you just clicking on anything, or were those your actual answers? Because when you see a pattern like that, more likely at the end, if you see the last 10 are all wrong, that's why we just had a student who did matriculate, but his main problem was pacing. He'd get halfway through and then just guess randomly because he ran out of time. So I worked with him on pacing, and he managed to reach 10th grade level in both. So I really had to crack the whip with him to make him skip questions that were hard and not to dwell on them, which is what the problem is. Anyway, this is good information for when you give the little quizzes throughout. I give them during class and then also for homework. The ones during class are usually 5 questions long, and immediately we go over them, especially the questions that are challenging. And then the homework questions like this one, I'm going to download it. Yeah, I can finish it. You have another couple of minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just show you. So then when I'm done, I export it. I get an Excel spreadsheet with the results. I can export the individual student PDFs. I put them in a folder for the students so they can see their own answers. And then there's a results summary PDF. Let me open that, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Now, this is kind of a preview of what we're going to be doing, I guess, next Monday, right? Let me just open it quickly. If I look funny, it's because I have two monitors, so I'm looking off to the side. I know that looks weird sometimes. Okay, so here's the test that I just gave them. I've downloaded it. Am I sharing it?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there, for example, there's question 1, and I can see how many students answered each question correctly. If it's a question where everyone answered it right, usually I just say, anyone have questions? No, we'll move on. If there's at least one person who got it wrong, I'll make sure that I go over those questions. And it not only has the question, the answer choices, and then it has the explanation as well. Now, you don't do this with the TABE, actually. With the actual TABE, we never share the questions with the students afterwards. We don't share the results other than just a score, because that has to remain under lock and key. But every other test, I always share with the students and give them their copy.
No problem.
And Matt, what I'll do, I'm sorry. I have a habit of like, of taking.
No, if you call me Matt, I'm not, like I said,
No,
I will answer you. My mom calls me Matt, so it's not like I don't go by it. It's just that, yeah, whatever.
I hear you.
But yeah, if you call me Matt, I won't get mad.
And you can call me Tom. You can call me Tom, by the way. It doesn't have to be Mr. T.
Gotcha.
Amanda always calls me Mr. T. It's fun.
Okay.
I was say that, like, this week I'll make sure that we get a professional account for you, and then when we meet with Tom, we'll start activating it, and then making sure all the quizzes that Tom uses in the deck are in you have access to. They're in your.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
You have to just import them one at a time. And once you do that, you'll have them all.
yeah.
And once you have them, you can go in and make any edits you want, make changes, delete questions, add more questions, play around with it. And I'll do a whole tutorial on Socrative with you once you have your own account.
That'd be perfect.
I love it. It's great. It's really, I don't know how I'd be teaching online remotely without something like it.
Yeah, no, it's a great resource, man. It is just the fact you can see at your fingertips really quickly just who's catching on, who's not, and what question. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something that's it's great, Tom. All right, do you have any more? I have to jump off quickly. Everyone, let's do this. Any questions at all, Matthew? Let's. Do you want to touch base today or tomorrow? Do you want some more time to go over? Because I think this week just really go over all the material. Do you want to touch base?
We can do tomorrow. Yeah,
okay,
let's
do tomorrow, 11 o'clock. And any questions you have, let me know. And then we'll just touch base, and then use this week to really just go through the curriculum, take detailed notes. And then we'll meet Monday and Tuesday if necessary, and we'll just go through the stuff.
Okay.
And just keep in mind, Tom is for the ABE stuff, the pursuit stuff that
I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And Matthew, when you and Cavi are meeting, if any questions come up about the ABE that Cavi can't answer, just write, keep track of the questions, and then when we meet on Monday, I'll be able to answer this.
Yeah,
I won't be joining you tomorrow.
No problem at all.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, great. I'll send out an invite, and I'm going to send a link to this recording to Santosh and Lynette and a few others, just in case they need to do the training also.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, great, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.
Take care.